for more about this interesting story on the garment industry. Marsha Dickson, president and co-founder of the Better Buying Institute. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. I think a lot of us are, we've always associated the United States with a place where things are made, and there's high quality and there's relatively high pay when it comes to the rest of the world. So this certainly is a very disturbing piece. What is going on here?
Well, a lot, and it's not very simple. The underpayment of worker wages and benefits is widespread. Every country that produces garments for export and even domestic production is, workers are not paid enough, and there's a lot of reasons for that. I can go on.
No,
We've known
please,
about,
please.
yeah,
We
we've known
definitely
about,
want to know what the core of the issue is and what's causing this, I guess,
yeah.
underpayment of wages. I understand they're immigrants. I understand this might be, they might be limited in job options out there, especially in a big city like Los Angeles. But what Edits is talking about is this is a significant underpayment. I'm not going to say it's an abuse of workers, but not being paid the wage that you, I guess, thought you were going to make, and then not being able to voice those concerns, that's an issue.
Yeah, and poor wages and other risks to workers have been known for 30 years or more. And when we started to understand these problems were occurring, brands and retailers created codes of conduct, and the whole audit industry was developed to try to find out what's happening in the factories that's preventing these presumably greedy or unscrupulous manufacturers from treating workers right. But when we started to listen to those manufacturers, we realized really an important cause of the problems had been overlooked, and that's the way that the brand and retailers' customers that they have are carrying out business with suppliers on a day-to-day basis. It's the pressure that's being created by the brands and retailers that's a big, big problem.
Why don't we just call out the brands? The brands clearly are buying, right? You have to know where your supply chain is and where your product's coming from. If they're violating what sounds like a number of laws in doing this, why not call out the brands that are being associated with this type of manufacturing?
Yeah, so the brands, of course, are not the ones employing the workers. So there's a bit of distance there, and they have capitalized on that. But if they are treating their manufacturers in ways that the manufacturer can't pass on good benefits, can't pay their workers, then we have to look at that root cause, because the brand and retailer has a significant contribution to this problems. And until we address that, we're not going to make much progress.
So, okay, so let's talk about solutions. Who should these workers complain to? Is it the city of Los Angeles? Is it the state of California? Is it the federal government? I mean, they clearly must be in this country a path of recourse that these workers can go through to air their grievances.
Yeah, there are a lot of options for workers, and many factories will be required to have grievance mechanisms for them. But I'm really saying we have to listen to the suppliers and listen to their grievances too, because if we can't get a better business relationship between the supplier and the brand, then there's not going to be much that the supplier can do. We're in situations where suppliers are being paid not being paid enough to cover everything that the brand is asking for. And so how can we expect the supplier to pay a living wage or even a minimum wage if they're not being paid enough themselves? So we have to really raise up, in addition to worker voice, and all the worker hotlines and things like that are so important, but we need to raise up the supplier voice too.
Okay, but these manufacturers, I mean, I see maybe why some people might not want to blame the brands. Yeah, I still think we should blame the brands, but manufacturers have owners, owners have names. Why not call these people out, and why can't they be prosecuted if they're doing something illegal? If I hire workers and don't pay them or do something illegal, I'm held responsible regardless of what company I'm running or what company anybody here is running. People have a recourse, and there should be some level of accountability, and that ultimately ends with, in your case, the owner of these manufacturers. Where are they?
Yeah. Well, I think, there's a lot of ways to hide, and a lot of, a work that needs to be done to enforce worker wages. I have visited a lot of factories in my life in all corners of the world, and the worst factory I was ever in was in the unincorporated area outside of Los Angeles. So, there's all kinds of places to hide, but I'm just saying that until we deal with the brand and retailer directly, to reduce those pressures on their supply chains, it's going to be pretty futile.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing this very important story with us. I'm disappointed we haven't found any solutions to this, so we're going to have you back again, and hopefully we'll get some constructive progress. But I still stand by my point. I think we should be calling out the brands, and I think we should be naming names of these factories and hold these people accountable for what they have done, because it's an embarrassment to this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you.